Welcome to the first episode of the Watchers podcast. Tonight we're doing Comedy Watchers, and we have our guest, Tom Franklin, who is in a weird spot now where he is technically the first guest to the Watchers, but our second guest as our podcast in general. I don't know. He's the first person we've booked twice, and it's just a different show.
It's okay. I'm just an opener. I'm just the opener for the rest of the comics to come after me or people who know about comedy. I'm just the opener. I'm not MC, but I'm definitely an opener.
I mean, that really hits home, though, right?
We have some cool features lined up.
Okay. It's just going to be some surprises.
We don't have anything lined
up.
No,
I'm just using buzzwords.
Okay, buzzwords. Ooh.
I'm surprised you guys heard me because my mic's not plugged in.
I'm surprised you're not ready for this. Not really.
That was the first one on.
Got the human banana over here.
Who's the human banana?
Drew. He's wearing like this bright ass yellow shirt.
Okay. All right.
One of my
Sasquatch shirts. Better be a Hulkamania. Oh, did it print right? Nope, can't see it. Good job.
Nope, there we go. See? Not a Sasquatchers, just Sasquatch.
Oh.
And he's grilling.
Wait. So you can afford off-brand Sasquatchers merch.
Yeah.
But not our own.
He's the American Odolph Gaddafi. That's who he is. The American version of Gaddafi.
Yeah.
I can see that.
First bomb.
I mean, I do kind of look like him.
I got a tent in my backyard if you want to live in it. Do we have like an opener? Do we have like a video or something to play?
No, I didn't have any time to edit anything, so that's all gonna be put in post tomorrow.
I got it, guys. I got it. Dude. That is not copyrighted.
We just have to try to not be sued by Axel Foley.
That was Freddie Mercury.
We're getting a YouTube strike for that for sure.
You think so? Was it too good?
Well, if you guys remember, ringtone.
You should have said something.
Like, the ringtone.
That was a ringtone, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a huge ringtone. So there has to be some type of fair use for it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to have 15,000 versions of it as a ringtone.
Oh, yeah, dude. I ran into some of that because I got that half monetization thing going where you get the super chats and all that. And, and memberships and all. I made my first $6.99. Yeah. And
yeah, there you go. Moving up.
And like before you do that, I don't know if you guys have been that far yet or not, but like there's a thing where they went through all my videos then, and there was like at the end of each one of my videos that I made for my podcast, I had to like either erase it or exchange it for something else, and there was something that was the full video. So get ready for that.
Yeah,
we don't have to worry about that ever.
We'll never have to worry about that. No. There are certain words that the YouTube algorithm AI is looking for now too.
I know those.
Certain, I'm sure we know a lot of words.
One starts with a K, one starts with a K, one starts with a P.
I think one starts with an R.
Oh yeah, I used the R one on my video that I put up.
He did.
Yeah,
so Reborn. I got you.
Not quite that innocent, but
yeah, but like,
anybody listening,
did you see Tony Hinchcliffe go on yesterday and said what he said?
No.
Did you see Tony Hinchcliffe, right? Who has a huge podcast, huge.
Yeah,
it's called Kill Tony. He went on Netflix. They had a response by Netflix. I don't know. They had a roast of Tom Brady, and he said he called him a Confederate flag, if you know what I mean. But he didn't say flag on Netflix. And I laughed very, very hard.
That roast was very unfiltered. I was impressed by what I saw. I actually don't have Netflix, so I had to get clips of it. But, I mean, when your show starts with Jeff Ross coming out with an OJ jersey covered in blood, like, that's standard. Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, he won on it. He crushed. He said something about, he kept using the word king. He eats Burger King, and he's a mix between Tiger King, and he was talking about Bert Kreischer. And it looks like his liver got beat up by Rodney King or something.
Yep, Rodney King, yeah.
It was so funny, man. So funny. He killed it, dude.
I think my favorite line that really got me, because I wasn't expecting it, is when they were talking about Kim Kardashian. She looks pretty nervous right now, and she's like, "No, I'm okay." She's like, "Well, I'd be nervous too if my kids were at home with the husband." I'm sorry, the dad, not the husband. My bad. Yeah, the dad.
Yeah,
ex-husband. My bad.
Mr. East.
Yeah, it was impressive. Although they didn't advertise it for shit. Like,
no,
all they did, like, on Saturday, like, and if I didn't listen to Jim and Sam in the morning every day and listen, yeah, I'm actually meeting Jim Norton on Friday.
Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
Yeah, I have a meet and greet in Pittsburgh. I'm gonna drive 2 hours back home.
He is like, I don't know how much you guys know about comedy, but as a third man, he's a great first and second man, but as a third man, the best I've ever heard. I watched him on Kill Tony. Like, one guy will punch up a line as they're like riffing on the people that they have go up, and then he will throw in a line, dude, that is so lightning fast and so dark and so to the point. He is brilliant in what he does. He's the
most lightning quick person.
I gotta say that the only Norton that I know is the antivirus.
JC, I'm going to say for your please subscribe to the channel, but I'm going to say for the ones who are not yet to be subscribed, who are subscribed, that sucked.
But yeah, so if anybody listening hasn't figured it out yet, this is the Comedy Watchers installment of the Watchers, and it's something that I want to do quite often. Stand-up comedy has always been something that I loved, something that I wish I spent more time trying to accomplish when I was younger. Now that I'm starting to peter into the end of my 30s here and all of the regrets I have in life, that's one of them. But Tom here is a good friend that we made on our other podcasts and our other shows, and he just happens to have years of stand-up comedy experience. So I thought it would be really cool to have him on and be the first guest of the Watchers and kind of pick his brain and learn about that and, see where the conversation lends itself. So, Tom.
I know now, everybody. I know now. I'm good to go. Like, I didn't know what pre-Chrome was forever, but yeah, I'll get to that later. I swear I didn't. My name is Tom Franklin. I think you wanted me to introduce myself, right? I was too busy.
Yeah, laughing. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Tom Franklin. I am the host of the I Attributor podcast. What is that about? I like to talk to people about all forms of mystery, whether it be cryptids like Bigfoot and Dogman and the like, or Wendigos, to UFO experiences, abductees. I like talking to about psychedelics. I like talking about consciousness, religion, anything where and how they connect with each other. Like, you have religion and AI, how they put those two together. And I always, especially people who have these, paranormal encounters or cryptids encounters, they always seem to have a form of PTSD, which is what I also suffer from, being a war vet. And so what I try to do is get them into a space where they feel comfortable talking about these things and shed light on it with a little bit of humor, give us some levity.
Yeah, levity, I think, goes well, especially with what is it? Now, PTSD. What's the word? What's the phrase for the letters?
Post-traumatic stress disorder. And what comedian did we hear that from? Post-traumatic stress disorder. What was that famous comedian bit? Do you know who wrote that one?
Nope.
Old George Carlin bit.
I was going to say, Cadence sounded like Carlin.
Yeah, he was talking about how the words are so long now because we've made everything soft, and he went through, it used to be called shell shock, and then that was World War I, World War II, operational exhaustion. Battle fatigue. Vietnam War was then operational exhaustion, which is 8 syllables, and then this one, now we have post-traumatic stress disorder. Still 8 syllables, but we added a hyphen, and it's all, the pain is buried under jargon. And if we would have actually called it shell shock still, we might have helped some of the vets that needed the help at the time. Stuff like that. I love stuff like
that. He was an insightful dude. He's definitely in my top 5, if not, higher than that, of all time. My introduction to George Carlin was, in fact, as the conductor on the train show.
What was it called? Shining Time Station.
Something like that.
I think it was called Shining Time Station, yeah. For me, it was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah, that's where that would be the second time that I saw him as a younger child, renting that and then seeing Rufus and being like, "Yeah, it's the conductor."
I just remember I was, I don't know, 11, 12, something like that, and my mother had HBO on, and I think it was either Back in Town or Doing It Again. I think it was Back in Town, 94, 93, maybe earlier. I think earlier than that, excuse me. Yeah, 91, 92. 90 was Doing It Again. And I remember her just sitting in the living room just laughing hysterically, and I didn't know why. So I started watching this guy, and I just realized that my mother really enjoyed it. And I got into stand-up when I was about 18, 19. I was in the military, and I just wanted to watch some type of video to get me out of the stress of being in the military. And I grabbed his double feature, which was both of those. Rented it, and then I bought it, and I haven't looked back since, man. I mean, I used to have a DVD collection. I don't know, maybe 50 stand-up specials from my favorite comedians, and just watched them relentlessly.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite things to do. I'm a media collector.
I don't know what LimeWire is.
It was a program. It was peer to peer when we were younger, before the internet was interneting, where we would share music and files and stuff like that, and you usually ended up with viruses on your computer.
You might as well be talking to a horse's ass about when it comes to technology. I am so happy that I get my face on the screen.
Fair.
Don't know Jack. I'm learning so much. I just started doing one stolen duck. That's true. That's true.
Just so everyone knows, these will be popping up throughout the show as I think.
My grandmother, my girlfriend calls me Senor Duck. And I had a joke once where I wanted to say something malicious about a person, and in the middle of it, I had to change it. So I want to take this person and throw him off a bridge and see if he swims like a duck. So it's really weird how duck keeps running into my life. I'm on freaking StreamYard where the thing is a duck. Yes.
Some weird synchronicity shit, actually.
Yeah, there's some duck stuff going on.
You may have lived as a duck in your past life.
Yeah, maybe I had that curly, cute dick. You know what I mean? You ever seen that thing? Oh my God, you can open up like 4 bottles of wine with it.
I've seen a lot of animal dicks, but never a duck dick. I'm gonna have to open the old Google machine.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've been
told
do it.
It's like a corkscrew. Don't do it.
Ducks piss and shit out of the same hole, right? Did I make that up?
I think you made that up.
I don't think they're marsupials. Well, I know birds do. I know birds do.
Do they?
They also
that's disgusting. Birds are gross.
Yeah, it's like all the same, just little central hole.
Yeah, I don't know why I know that. JC, next time you go to KFC, birds are gross.
Yeah,
I'm never going back now.
Yeah, so let's talk about stand-up, dude. What do you want to know?
Yeah.
I don't know anything, but I can tell you about what I do.
Let's start with that. So you said that, around 18 or 19 when you were in the military, you were looking for that kind of escape. So did you ever try to get on stage prior to that? Or did that come as a result?
I remember getting on stage as a kid. Okay, like when I was 3, this is funny. No, 3rd grade, excuse me, not 3. When I was in 3rd grade, I am a little stoned at the moment. We had a class play of Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, and I played Dopey. And so I kept doing this thing where there's a part of the play where we had to sleep underneath the desk, and I would wake up and bang my head on the desk, like intentionally. And I got this huge laugh, and then all the kids started doing it. So I guess that was my first understanding that I can make people laugh.
Yeah, that's actually really cool.
I don't know if that helps at all.
But no, I mean that definitely like lays the seeds there. I think we all kind of go back to our really early childhood for all of that kind of stuff. And
another one, oddly enough, another really it sounds so silly, but like someone who is a thing that influenced me was really, and this is the truth, Bugs Bunny.
Oh, I can believe that.
When I was a kid, I loved Bugs Bunny. He was just such a snarky dude, and then you run into George Carlin and you put them together. That's me. I'm Bugs Bunny and George Carlin.
Kids today will never know just what kind of a sarcastic
Mel
asshole
Blanc
Bugs Bunny was.
Bugs Bunny, 100%. Mel Blanc, guys.
Yeah.
Blanc, Mel Blanc.
Yeah, you don't
I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Mel Blanc is?
What's the original voice actor of Bugs Bunny?
Bugs Bunny.
No.
Yeah.
No. Do you know who Mike Scheid is? Do you know who Mike Scheid is? He's the lead singer, guitarist, and songwriter for my favorite band, Yob.
Yob.
Such an obscure, even the band is an obscure reference. I was like, if you want to go down this route, dude, we all have things that we know, and I don't know much, but the bullshit that I have in my head, JC, is different than the bullshit you have in your head.
I'm not at all familiar with Yob, and we have some similar taste in music. How's that spelled?
Rain's Down in Africa. Great song.
Yeah, it is. Hold the line. Dun-it. This is off the rails. Off the rails.
I've always I'll get it. We're all professionals here. I didn't do stand up until I was 34 because I was busy doing metal music for a number of years. I was in a metal band. I started I was 24 and I stopped it when I was 34. And like a week after that, I did stand up. So I just didn't have any time for that because it's so many things in your head that you have to write to one side. AC/DC is not death metal. It's one of the worst bands I've ever heard in my entire life.
I will agree. He's so overrated.
5/4/4/4 beat, screaming like a cat music. Enjoy it. And I didn't start till I was 34 because I was just busy doing other things in my life. And metal at that time, I was really pushing to at least be like a road band, like a road gig band where I could do like a tour during my vacation times. It's just never panned out.
Did you?
What kind of metal were you doing?
Yeah, let's not gloss over that.
Oh, okay.
Well, we got all kinds of genres. We got metalcore, we got death metal, black metal.
You can't share the screen. I mean, the music is mine. Oh. But someone ripped it off and then put it on their thing. So if you do it, they'll give you like a strike.
No, it's your song. It's your music. What's the band's name?
The band's name is Lamera.
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 Lanera.
No, Lamera. Lamera. Together. And that I can't use that album, but the one before we can use that one. Yeah.
I found Panera.
No, Lamera. Type in Lamera Metal Mannheim. See if that helps any. Lamera Metal Mannheim. MANNHEIM.
Country of origin, Germany. I found it.
Yeah. Germany. Yes, that's me.
Wait, is that you in this picture?
I don't know which picture.
That is you. That is you. Okay, hold up. I'm sorry. We're really
up, man.
Yeah, give me one
second. So if we're gonna get into music, we can do that as well. I could talk hours about music too.
Well, here, let me.
I'm actually very interested in.
Yeah, that's me. I was about 29 at the time.
It's
German
you
heavy
and then
metal.
It's you and Discount System of a Down.
Their names are Christopher, Max, Silvio, and.
Not gonna lie though, this logo is sick. That is cool.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. That's Lamera.
Split Up. Sorry, guys. Groove thrash metal, literally the worst genre of metal.
It's more groove doom metal or groove death metal.
All right, mechanically separated like
metal.
chicken.
Don't play mechanically separated because that one's gonna get you flagged. What else you got? Don't go to that album. Don't go to that album. Go to
nope. Okay, Apex. Destruction Manual.
Don't play Destruction. Don't play Destruction Manual. That was more of a crappy.
I'm not gonna play anything. Everybody, if anybody wants to hear it, go listen to it. But this is real. We're not just making this up.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, I wrote all those songs too. Dude. Wow.
What was the
idea? 70%, maybe 70% of the original ideas, and then they get changed with when you work with band members, like the riffs. There's one or two that were written by my lead guitarist. He had a lot of good ideas too. I'm thinking of Spellbound, for example. That was one, and parts in some older songs. But yeah, dude, we did that for a long, long time, and then it kind of broke up. The drummer left, and then I switched basses like 3 times, and I just couldn't do it anymore because I was doing another band at the time called Inertia.
Said 2004 to 2014, so that's like 10 years.
That's right on the money. That's what I told you. 24 to 34.
I have heard of a band named Inertia. I wonder if that's the same one.
I don't think it's the same. I doubt it.
It's Inertia. You're gonna have to type in Inertia Mannheim again, or you can go to my buddy's channel, Riff Rumble Madness, and there's some songs on there too.
Yeah, interesting.
And that's more technical death metal. Technical.
Oh,
crazy!
I found a video of you guys at the Room Bar from 2017.
How do you spell it?
RHUMBAR.
Room Bar. Inertia.
Yeah, Inertia live at the Room Bar.
You got to send me that link. I don't even know that one.
I mean, all the comment, everything's in German, so I'm assuming this is
okay. Go do me a favor and send me that link real quick, dude. I got to check that one out. I don't think I've ever seen that video. I didn't know there was any live. Okay. That would be cool to see that.
Yeah, it looks like somebody filmed it from their phone. I'll put it in the private chat here.
I did that one a little longer. I think I stopped that band in like 17. But
2017 was that recording.
Yeah, I was doing 2 bands, and I had to stop the one. Then I started stand-up, so I had Inertia still, where I was just a singer. And instead of stand-up in, what was it? Oh, God. Don't get me lying. I think it was October the 14th, 2014. Something like that. Or 17th, 2014. Something like that. And I went to it's a German show called Kunst gegen Bares, which is art for money, basically. So it was kind of like a talent showcase. Yeah, I don't know what that word was. I just made that one up. So it was like a talent showcase. So you had like comedians and like songwriters, musicians, jugglers, magicians, everything in there. And the audience so you get 10 minutes, and an audience at the end of the show, there would be 8 piggy banks for the 8 performers, and the audience would show how much they liked that performer by putting money in piggy banks. And then you would get ranked on how well you did. So I did that show, and I did 8 out of the 10 minutes, and I got 1 laugh, and it's only because I said women were crazy. Because I did it in English, I was a little bit overwhelmed. Not underwhelmed, not whelmed, overwhelmed.
I'm listening to the song Mechanically Separated off of the new album Mechanically Separated.
That's my girlfriend's favorite song. I guess we'll sit here and wait for the reaction.
Yeah, wait. Okay, wait, this actually rips.
Thank you, dude. That's me singing too.
Did you sing in English or German?
It's in English.
It's in English.
Yeah. Check this out. This actually rips. Everybody, check that out. Lamera. This actually rips.
Oh, cool. Inertia Live over there. The thing is, dude, send it to my freaking messenger. I will never be able to click on it until I don't do it later. I want to do it during the show.
Hey, he clicks on links during the show. He just gave us some minute of dead air so you can listen to.
Yeah, sorry.
JC's having a good time. No big deal. Yeah, so I went from there, and I did. What the hell did I do?
Well, you say that you got 1 laugh, right? So, like,
yeah,
your first attempt there was like you bombed, and that's. I think that's probably the best way to start, because, like, right out of the gate, you've already faced what is the worst fear in that situation.
I did the worst one time. The first timers always do the same thing where they talk about this experience of doing stand up for the first time is like their first time doing this. And mine was like it's like I lost my comedy virginity, but I promised myself this time I wouldn't cry. Was one of my jokes, and it was awful. It's an awful joke, but that's like my opener. And then from there was all downhill because the Germans just stared at me because I speak fast, which is another thing that beginning comics do a lot. It's like when they get nervous, they'll speed up, and you still have to keep it down. And I didn't do that, so it was really scary. And then you're doing it in another country, and you're all giving you the stink eye. But you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, no, I think that takes like an extra amount of courage to try it in a different language for your first time. That
no, I didn't try it in a different language. I did it in English.
But the whole thing was in English.
Yeah, I didn't know. I couldn't start in German, man. I couldn't even put on the. I speak German. I'm a fluent German speaker. But the ideas came in English always, and I was speak to my wife at the time, and I was like, "Let me bounce some ideas off you," and she would like write with me and stuff, and I just eventually, that turned into me just writing for myself. But yeah, but doing it in front of a German audience, the first time ever doing stand up is quite difficult.
Well, Germans as a country, I feel like are just generally more hardcore. Like they just kind of remind me like.
I think you only think that for one reason, and we're not allowed to talk about that reason.
What do you mean by hardcore? You mean they were like darker humor?
Like, yeah, I would say like I would kind of equate them. Like I think that whole country reminds me of like your larger blue collar cities in America. Like they would be like, they're very really into like whiny metal music.
And the modern Germans are whiny pansy ass. It's
whiny bitches, dude. Like, thank you. It's true. Like, you would get up. I mean, once I started getting going, I'd have so many people complain. But it was also around that 15, 16 changeover into this whatever this iteration of reality is now. The one where last night Tony Hinchcliffe got to say the F word. But in that space until then, I was doing stand up. So. Yeah, they're a bunch of whiny bitches. Like the darker you go, the more they don't like it. They actually like, oh, you're from Massachusetts, I'm from Boston, outside, and we speak differently. Shit, and kind of Russell Peters like kind of stuff where he's like, I'm Indian, and it's wacky compared to here. Which he got famous off of. More power to him. I'm not shitting on Russell Peters. He's actually a well-written joke, but to give you the idea of what I'm talking about.
Okay. No, that actually, I've learned something because I just kind of always assumed Germany was like everyone in Germany looked like they came from a Judas Priest concert. So I just
wrong time period, brother.
I'm stuck in a different time period, I guess.
Was that like 82?
Yeah,
dude's stuck in 1942.
No, I mean, you would get your occasional ones that really liked what I did. I mean, there's maybe 3 or 4 guys that were German who were like, "Yeah, dude, you're funny." But like towards the end, before I had to leave because of a certain situation that happened 4 years ago, whatever that is now. But like most of the people who would like step up to me like after the show would be like either Americans or English and Russian, Turkish, everybody else really except for the Germans. So.
Okay, how often did you do shows in front of an American or English speaking predominantly like audience?
At the beginning, very little. I think I did like 2 or 3 of those Coonscake and Bar shows I was talking about, and then one guy seen me there. He was from Morocco. He's not a very comic. His name is Salim Salatu. That's what his name was, and he thought I was funny because I had a really good. Having a black dog racist as a white person, and what I'm going to do, put him in chains because I'm trying to control him, and I did this Negro hymn thing. Like, I can't do that. And he loved that bit, and he thought I should be on a show where I do 20 minutes, and I went up there to Cologne, Germany, and bombed horribly in front of an English-speaking crowd because it was all my material I had, whether it worked or not. They were getting everything, and I met one of my best friends in the world up there. He was middling. I opened, and he's from India. His name is Kirti Iyer. I actually had him on the podcast, and he was maybe 3 years into it. I'm answering your question, I promise. He was maybe 3 years into it, and he was like, "Hey, man, I can see that you're trying some stuff. I really enjoy that. I started this open mic in Frankfurt, which is only an hour away from where I live, instead of 3 hours away to Wiesbaden. No, not Wiesbaden, Cologne, Germany, which is it's a very populated part of Germany. And he was like, "Yeah, why don't you come down and do my mic?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." He goes, "It's one day a month on the third Wednesday or something crazy like a Friday. I can't remember what it was." So that night I had the same thing. The night before I had a Kunstgegenbars show again, but in Frankfurt this time. And then I went to his show the night after. So that was like my first show in front of my second show in front of an entire English-speaking audience. And the night before I did well because I kind of like just said, F it. I just came back from Germany, from the States, because my grandma died. And I was just not in the mood to like fancy dance and walk. You know what I mean? I just kind of like let it go. And it worked in front of a German crowd. And I got like, I think like $100 for like 10 minutes of like doing stand up. I was like, wow, like fourth place or something at a base. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I went up to that show. It was at a place called the Circus Bar. And I did really well. I didn't crush, but I did really well. I would say they laughed at like really hard at like 3 or 4 jokes I had, and pretty decent at like half of them, and then like the other ones bombed. But I did well.
That's really cool. Are you still in the military at this point while you're trying to focus on this? No.
No, then no, not then either. No. I was working regular German job. I was a machine operator for a large multinational corporation that makes car sensors.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's another reason I thought Germany was so hardcore, because of all of the car production.
No, it's constantly working, dude. Like we were running like shitty shifts, where like the good ones were like 1 week night, 1 week late, 1 week morning. But then I was running these things called 21 shifts, where the machine has to run 24 hours a day, and those were like 2 morning, 2 late, 3 nights, 2 off, 2 morning, 3 late, 2 nights, and you work 7 days in a row. So I would get vacation, and I would take certain days off, like on a night shift. I'll take the last one off or something like that, and I would coincide with doing stand up. And I would, because it always like relaxed me. And you're up there, talking, whatever, talking about throwing kids in a garbage can or whatever you're talking about, I don't know. And in front of like college students in Germany and drunks and stuff. So we always had a good time, especially the group. I had a really good group of individuals up there. Another one, Chris Barrett, he's doing pretty well in the States right now. Check him out, he's in Detroit. Go to Chris Barrett Comedy or wherever he is on Instagram. And he's pushing hard right now. He's an opener now, and he's starting to do some middling, some featuring, and he might be going on tour around the States. He's been to Vegas and did some open mics. He's been to Detroit, Chicago, of course, and he's also went to Atlanta. So he's pushing real hard. And I also know, I don't know if I told you guys, I know a famous comedian in Romania. His name was Bara Victor. He started right after me, but he's a Romanian comedian. And I also know one in Bulgaria. He just moved back home.
They are like super famous over in Europe.
No, the Romanian one is not super famous, but he's if you type in, you will run into him. He's probably maybe number 10 or something on the list, I'd imagine. But he quit doing college, which was like psychology in college. Quit it, or he finished, I can't remember. And he's like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do stand up. And he went back to Romania and started doing stand up. And he's like, let's go. And he's been doing it ever since.
When you were over there, did you ever make it into any other countries or just Germany?
Doing stand up.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to the Netherlands, but everything is like 7-8 hours away. And then when you're working, it's hard to do. But I wanted to go to like, it's called Boom Chicago. I can't remember the name of it. It's in the Netherlands to do some open mics there. But I've been through multiple cities in Germany. I went to like Stuttgart, and Munich, and Frankfurt, and Cologne, and Wiesbaden and Mainz, and all over the place in like that southwest region. And I was trying to get to Berlin, which is like the biggest English comedy scene in Germany is in Berlin. The second biggest is in Cologne. The third biggest is in Frankfurt. And so a lot of my friends went up there. A lot of my comedian buddies went up there and did some mics. And I was invited to go. I just never could because of my work schedule.
I think a lot of people, when you talk about European countries like Germany and even Poland and Romania, and that they think of Europe as being like this smaller area, but Germany's a big country. Poland is a big country.
Size of Montana? Germany's the size of
Montana?
Like these.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking just like an hour or two drive. You could easily have a 10-hour.
Oh yeah.
Trip.
It's happened. I've done that with doing music. Drive 9 hours and play in front of 3 people. I've done that before. So I've been with music. I went to Austria one time. That was cool. They beat the crap out of each other in front of the stage. Yeah, nice. No, in Strasbourg. It was another place.
Just as the Austrians should. That's what they do.
Oh, the Schwarzenegger Hitler connection. Oh, yeah. And I have made Hitler jokes in Germany. So.
And you got away with it, okay? So I remember.
It depends. It's all about how you twist it, man. It's all about. There's certain things you do. I call them parlor tricks, and I use a lot of that now because of me doing it in Spanish in Mexico. So I do a lot of parlor tricks. So it has a lot to do with timing. It has a lot to do with the way I move. Everyone's different. Where you lead them down one direction and flip it on their head, a really stupid joke of mine I had was like, I'm for the wall. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick and tired of these fucking Canadians and blah, blah, blah. And like that switch, stuff like that, people enjoy. That's just, where you pull the carpet out, or there's like many little tricks that you can do. But so if you do a good Hitler joke, you better be good. Better be good. I had one where I actually used a German word and I turned it into I used the words that are over top the village of Auschwitz as Arbeit macht frei, which is awful. Work will set you free. It's awful. So it's wordplay. And then there's a place in Germany, if you go to a swimming pool, they call that Freibad. So I said I want to open a water park for Holocaust survivors called the Arbeit macht Freibad. And that always crushed. That always crushed. That's a good place. Take the family. Just don't go in the showers. Stuff like that.
That's a good line.
And it was dark, but the Germans, like, if you're in Germany, you do speak some German. I don't care who you are. You know what I mean? And except for certain ethnicities that lived there since after the war, which it didn't have to, so they lived in certain communities. But for the most part, you're speaking some kind of German, and I took that wordplay and just threw it together. So I did German wordplay in an English stand-up set, and I did that a lot.
I like that sense of humor. I like how dark and kind of blue that is. That's more so where I come from my sense of humor.
So who's your favorite comic? Who's your favorite comic?
Favorite comic, man, that one's tough. Growing up, I had some, I feel like just to say my influences would just be like everybody else's influences, One of the earliest ones that I can remember being really into, and I was really young for it, was Sam Kinison. I don't know.
You want my opinion? Sam Kinison. Let me just yell. I'm just going to yell everything. Funny. Ha ha ha.
But, as a child, that appealed to me. So then I grew up, and then you start to kind of, hear some of the messaging and shit. And the more coke he did, like the crazier his shit got. And, he was actually a preacher before he did stand-up.
Yes,
so that lended to his cadence and everything.
Yeah, but like I said, I just never understood it or got it, dude. It was like
he also died.
Andrew Dice Clay too. I didn't get it, and then like later when he started being on like the Rogan podcast, and I go, oh, he's crazy. And then
Dice is amazing. Yeah, Dice is great.
A little bit more.
Dice now, I think, is better than most people. I think if you ever just jump on his Instagram, he has this bit now where he walks around and bothers people to take a picture with him, and he acts like he's the one who's inconvenienced by it, and they have no idea who he is. It's like it's a solid bit he's been doing on Instagram for like a year.
Yeah, dude, he was the first person to get like canceled.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, he was like the first person to like ever get canceled, except for maybe like Richard Nixon or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he's such a good actor too. He was like robbed of a huge career.
Maybe Lincoln. He got canceled pretty quickly. In the booth, John Wilkes Booth shot him in the booth at the theater. There's something there too. I got to look into that. Not like conspiracy wise through my podcast. I mean, I bet you I can get somebody on to do that. I know a guy who will do that. Victor S. Johnson. He's got a cool podcast too. He really gets into that kind of stuff.
I love those John Wilkes Booth conspiracies and all of the shit that goes along with that. I have not watched the new Manhunt show. That's about it. But there's apparently some show on Netflix.
All right. Yeah,
it might be worth checking out.
Okay, so my do's and don'ts as a beginner, like I kind of mentioned some of them. It's just a little bit. Like the advice that I'll give you at the end, you'll hear it is very simple. The things I would tell people is just slow down, and you know, like just try to cut out the fat. Unless you're telling a story, but you have to make sure that you slip in a lot of funny things, and that takes time. Like I didn't start doing stories till maybe 4 years in, but there's some people who are just effed at it and can just kill right away. So like if you're a joke writer like I am, and like just try to clean up the fat and don't try to beat around the bush and try to find a word that, like, words in comedy are very important too. That's like later, but like the wording you use is important. You know, it's like instead of saying, you know, after school, you know, my teacher kept me, and you know, because I did this and that and the other, and then you go detention. You just get to the point. I was in detention.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? That puts people right there.
Right.
What you're trying to do is like you're kind of hypnotizing them a little bit with your mind. So you want them to get on the level in which you are mentally. And if they hear a bunch of blah 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 blah, then their mind can make up whatever it is that they want in their head. So when you do hit the punch, it doesn't hit quite as hard if you were to use a word like detention.
And then
I'm sorry. The biggest piece of advice I can give any comic or beginning comic or any comic at all is just get up as often as you can and just keep going and don't worry about it. Just, you know, listen to people. You know, you have to make some connections and do some contacting and being in groups and things like that. It's kind of part of the game. But like, just get up as much as you possibly can and also know that you're going to suck before you get good. It's important too, because when you do suck, you know how bad it feels, but eventually it's funny. Like to me, when I started, like maybe I was 5 years in, I would like once in a while you would bomb, especially if you're trying some new stuff. And I would just do things like, oh my God, this guy sucks right now. And like just let them know that you know that they know. Because if you try to hide it, they're going to go against you too. So there's a lot of tricks.
I am really thinking about trying to give it a go this summer. I have the summer off, and I don't have, other than our podcasts and taking my kids to sports and stuff, I don't really have a lot going on. And I think I might do some writing and throw it over to you and see what you think. I've been.
That's not how that works, dog. That's not how that works. I didn't throw my writing to anybody. I just jumped in with 2 feet. That's what you got to do.
Just run in full force with Hitler jokes.
That's what hey, I'll do it. I'll show you the videos.
You might come back crying, and then I'll tell you what. This is what I'll do. What you do? You do the set, and you do it 3 times, and to where you start getting a little something. Same kind of set. Try to eke it. You know, and record yourself, not just audibly but visually. Like what happens? Like I had these big like written ideas. And they would get like a little chuckle, but what was laughing is like, since I don't write like stories, like the transfer between one bit to the other one, that transfer of me like just saying something or mentioning something in the audience or saying, you know, I got to go over here to my paper now again because I don't remember what I'm talking about. The people would laugh, and I go, wait a minute, you're just laughing at who I am. which is fine. Yeah. It sounds awful, but that's what it is. And so do that, and then send it to me, and then I'll go through it with you. I promise.
All right, cool. So,
matter of fact, we could do it on this show. There you go. That's content.
Yeah, you could shred me.
I wouldn't do that, dude.
Oh, I would encourage it because that would be hilarious. So let me ask you a question then, since you're kind of breaking down joke writing versus the storytelling part. What's the process of writing a set that you would consider more joke writing? And when I say that, I think of Stephen Wright, Mitch Hedberg. Well,
Stephen Wright's more of a one-liner. Guy. I mean, I had bits that went. I had a bit that went. I don't know, maybe 3 minutes. It was like one of my longest bits I had at the time. It was about in Germany. They have this thing called FKK, Freies Körperkultur, which is like where they get naked. And it starts at a certain time at this place I was swimming at indoors, an indoor swim park. And you just turn around and everyone's naked. And I just started, which was real. It happened. So it was kind of a story, but it started with a joke. And then I just started adding to it. And then it became a story. So you can go about it that way. I got a friend of mine, Austin Francis, a big dude from New York, rapper too. And he started doing stand-up and he's doing really well in Germany now as well. And he just started talking. He's just like, I hate it when this, that, and the other. And, the other day I seen this. And then there's people who they go beat by beat. Like Seinfeld can't really go off the script so much. But that's what he does. That's his style. And then there's people like this Casey Rocket guy. I don't know if you've seen him yet. Type him in. Casey Rocket. Type in Never Made It as a Blind Man Set or whatever the hell it's called. Or something like that. That song, Never Made It as a Wise Man. And just watch that. Okay. I don't know what that is. The guy's running around the stage. He picks up the mic 50 times. But like the process, dude, is, for me, everyone's different. That's what makes it unique. It's just like podcasting. Everyone's unique. The way you guys do it is different the way everyone else does it, and vice versa. So you have to kind of figure that by yourself, which is what I mean by, I'm not going to not tell you, but that's what I mean by getting up as much as you can, because you have to find your voice. They say that, what's your voice? And it took me 3.5, 4 years to find it. And it was hard. And once I started writing from that, it got so much easier and it got so much better. And I could start really playing. So like the process is like, for me, it used to be I write everything down. That didn't work for me. I used to have stacks of notebooks. And I would just, every time, okay, I want to write a Batman joke, just forcing myself to write. And some of them would work. Maybe 1 out of 20, 30 ideas would work, that I would try. And then I started doing this thing. I didn't have my notebook with me or anything to write with, so I had my phone on me, of course, like everyone else does in this weird ass world we live in. And there's a voice recorder. So what happens for me is that the idea, when it comes into my head, I say it in the same like cadence and timing and wording that I hear it if it makes me laugh. Then I would then like just not pay attention to it, and I would just collect a bunch of those, like, driving home from work after a night shift, being tired. I have an idea about Bill Cosby being good at 2 things. Like just put them all out there. And then I would go back maybe 2 nights before the open mic. And this was later. Maybe towards the end before I had to leave because of the new bang boom in the shoulder. And I would sit there and listen to them. And if it made me laugh, I would write them down. And then I would then go, okay, this is the idea. How do I expand upon that? There was one that I did right before I got on stage. I went back and he goes, what are you going to do? You going to do something new tonight? And I go, no. He goes, come on, man. I want to hear you do something new. And I had this another idea about taking down the walls. I don't think we should have the walls. I think it's awful. But shouldn't we? And get the audience with me, like this huge idea. And what do you guys agree? I think it should, we shouldn't have, I think instead of, dedicating all that, that material and, workforce and all the time and energy and materials for building a wall, shouldn't we build 4 walls for the homeless? And the people would go, yeah. And I go, I don't know why you guys are applauding. You have no idea what I'm going to do to these people once I put them in my concentration camps. It was the biggest flip I ever did. But that was right before I got on stage, So like when it comes to you, I would suggest that you write it down. Mitch Hedberg had one of his famous bits was, if you don't know who Mitch Hedberg is, then go look him up. He's
absolute
fantastic.
legend.
And he had a bit of talking about where, like, he always kept a notebook and a pen next to his nightstand. And so if you have anything funny that he thought about, he would write it on the note. But if he woke up in the middle of the night with a thing funny in his head and he had to get out of the bed to go get the notebook, he had to convince himself that what he thought of wasn't that funny. Right. And that's total stoner thoughts. But, just write it down. However it works for you. Try different things. And don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to say the things that other people. Now, there's a way of doing it. You can't just go up there and just start, cussing every second word or being racist or, you have to learn how to structure it, but don't be afraid to try things. And the audience is your best. Like, that's why you have to do it in front of an audience. They will tell you right away. And if it's no good, you stink. And then you have to go back into the lab and then try it again. But that's why I say, once again, go up as much as you
can. So the transition from Germany to Mexico, I have witnessed via your social media, because we've been friends on there for a while now, that you finally got back into doing stand-up, and you've been posting your videos as well. How has that experience in Germany helped you in Mexico, where you're now doing it for a third time in a different language?
Yeah, my third language. The funny thing is, this is the truth, man. Right before that whole pandemic kicked off, I was supposed to be an opener for Mike DiStefano. What the hell is his name? Not Mike DiStefano. Chris DiStefano. You've heard of him?
Chris DiStefano?
Yeah,
you were going to open for DiStefano?
Yeah, him and Giannis Papas. I was going to open for both of them.
Dude, Giannis is fucking huge right now too.
Yeah,
like that would have been like life-changing for you.
2020, I was going to open for him. I was going to do a 10-minute set and open it for him because I was that good. I was about to record a half-hour special. Seriously. I was going to, I had the camera guys that he already recorded the stuff anyway. I was like, hey, dude, give me a couple angles and send it to me, and I'll pay you $100. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll cut it and put it together. So, yeah, so I was that close to making a move, but, the world changed. So when I got down here, I had to start from scratch again, and I didn't know how to speak anything. I felt alienated once again, like I did when I was young in Germany. And I went to I think the first night of my first bar I went to, I met a guy at a guitar shop because I bought an acoustic because I needed to play something. I still haven't been able to afford my electric or have it sent over. He was like, hey, why don't you come to my house and we'll hang out, play some video games, drink some beer. I said, okay. And then I went over with him, and then a couple months, maybe a month later, we went, I said, hey, let's go to a bar. Went to a bar with him, and then I met this other guy who spoke really good English, and he was amazed by how open. They think I'm crazy down here a little bit, but I'm not. I'm just very open. I am who I am. And he's like, how are you able to be so confident in what you do? And I was like, I do stand up. So he was like, okay, dude. We started talking. I was like, maybe you should try too. That's, he goes, hey, you want to do a show? I was like, yeah. So he knew a bar, and I did I think 8 months after I got here, I did my first stand up in English here for two tourists. So I had to tone it back a little bit because it's like a bar and the guy knows each other and they're trying to get people in and not out. So I had some stuff already written down, and I did it in English. But so in this place, we were like, hey, since we only have two people, it's you and me, let's do it where it's a multicultural thing where we have some Mexican comedians come in. And I go, okay, great, dude, that sounds great. So it was me, then a Mexican dude, then me again, because I had quite a bit of material, of course. And then he closed, and then the Mexican dude went on again, and then he closed. And those two Mexican dudes are great people, by the way. Shout out to my boys. What are their names? What's the name of the comedians? Can't think of it right now, but I'll remember in a minute. Ricardo and what's the other one? Ricardo and Carishulo? No, la gorda.
Cienfuegos. Dani Cienfuegos.
No. Your cousin.
Jose Kiab.
Jose Kiab and my buddy Ricardo. They came out there, and I made them laugh. I did a Back to the Future reference or something. I can't remember what I did. And no, it was a Ghostbuster reference. This guy looked like Egon. And I was like, get in here. You have a beard. You look like Egon. And he laughed really hard. So me and my wife then like broke up. You know, we're done. We're no longer together. Got a girlfriend. This is where I'm at. And I started talking to her. She goes, hey, my cousin says he knows you. And I was like, who? She goes, do you know Jose Quiao? And I was like, I don't know who that is. She showed me a picture. And I go, oh, yeah, the comedian, he does comedy. I was like, oh, yeah, I know him. And so I started like, you know, I'm living basically with her because I have to work downtown. I can't drive an hour back and forth every day. I can't afford the gas. So she was like, yeah, let's, you know, one day maybe we'll do stand-up. And I was like, yeah, well, one day, but not yet. So ¿cuántos días o 3-4 meses? Algo así. So for like 3 to 4 months, I went down there one day. I was just like, I'm going. I don't care. I speak enough Spanish, which was nothing, and still isn't nothing. And I just went up there, and they were just surprised to see a big, because you know this is Mayan country. Everyone here is like the women are 5 foot tall and the men are like 5'6", and I'm 6'3" with blue eyes and big, you know, like a big praying mantis on stage or something. So they're surprised to see that. They really respect the fact that I try in English, Spanish. And they give me a lot of leeway, and they're very receptive. They're very receptive, very funny crowds. They do a lot of heckling, but it's not meant like mean. So it's kind of like they talk through you to other people in the audience, and I always never understand. But me not understanding is funny, or me not knowing a word, and I go, it's kind of like this, but it's this. I can explain it in Spanish now, and I go, oh, it's this word. You're trying to say coño, which I think is Jose, I think in Spanish, right? Coño, right? Culo is asshole, so I know that one. And I started a joke the other day with I think I have rubble in my asshole, which is funny as fucking English, but in Spanish it's even funnier. Yo tengo escombro en mi culo, right? And they were like, and I go, ask me why, and they're like, why? It's like because every time I walk, I hear this crackling sound, and I stuck my finger up there, and I felt a piece of rebar. And they didn't understand the concept of rebar being mixed in, so I'm working on that one still. But it makes me, doing all the stand-up I did in Germany, made me not afraid to do it in front of the Mexican crowd, because I find that Mexican culture is much more closer to the American culture than German is to American. So it helped me be fearless. And the people are very welcoming, as well as the community of comedians I've met down here. And like, it's just fun. It's fun. It's always been fun, but it's fun again to start over, but knowing what I do without knowing what I say. So that's fun for me.
Oh, awesome, man. Well, we're hitting that hour already. It's always fun when you look, when you look up there and you're like, holy shit, that felt like 10 minutes.
Yeah. I do have one. I have one question.
Yeah.
I think it's important that I asked. I need a Lamera T-shirt.
We used to have them. They're locked in a box. They're in a box, locked in a box inside of a garage in my house in Germany, and I don't think you're going to get them. First of all, I think you're more than an XL. This is correct, JC.
Go one up.
2 more than an XL.
We didn't make any of those. Germany don't have a lot of fat people, dude.
Well,
so I'm sorry.
We gotta work on that.
Well, all you got to do is take it, turn it in, put it on one of those background things where you cut out the background, and then put it on the shirt yourself. We're in the future, man. Come on.
That requires work. I just wanted to pay and have it done.
Well, you pay me.
There you go. And
last time I ordered,
we're making a business deal. We'll make a business deal, but I do want 10%. I want 10%, dude.
I'll just write it on with a Sharpie.
Get a stencil. Get a stencil and just spray paint on your chest.
That's the bootleg. No, nothing else. Just Lamera on my chest. That's the bootleg merch.
The bootleg merch. Oh, dude, that sounds awesome. But thank you guys so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you and your stuff?
Yeah, we have it's called the Eye of Jupiter podcast. We have a Facebook page, Eye of Jupiter. You guys go over there. I think we're up around 350, 400 members. I can't exactly remember. 450, something like that. And, you guys want to go over there and see some cool videos that I find, or people, sharing their podcasts and their stories. Like these guys, they've shared the podcast on my page. You can go there. You can find me at the Eye of Jupiter on YouTube. The Eye of Poopiter. No, Jupiter, my friend. And you can also send me an email at the Eye of Jupiter podcast at gmail.com. I got a Rumble channel going, and I still haven't did it in audio form, but soon to be had. I do lives every week at 7 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesdays. So this week is going to be a wild one. We're going to see what this one's going to be like. I'm a little skeptical, but it's, you know, when a certain person gives you a vibe before they come on, it's going to be one of those. So guys, go ahead and watch that train wreck. And I also put out an extra show once a week. So a regular show, I put out a live show, and if you join my members on YouTube, I put out an extra show once a month for you guys, and you also get all the stickers and all that stuff.
All right, yeah, check it out. Tom is a cool guy, and he's one of the first.
And if you want to see my comedy, I have 2 sets on my old channel called Tom Franklin Art. I also do oil canvas painting like Bob Ross, smoke weed, and there's some windsurfing videos on there. And I don't know, there's all kind of stuff on there. Let's go ahead and you can see actually some of the things that I've done, and that way you kind of get an idea of what it was like in the German comedy scene. That was a really good night, very full, and I did really, really well. So that one had to go up. I'm not going to put up all the bad ones.
You know what you should do? This is what a couple of comedians. I know we talked about Norton. I know he does this. You take your bombs and you cut them up. You throw them on your Instagram, and then you make the jokes about you bombing.
Yeah, I used to do that. I used to get stoned with my ex-wife, and I would talk about my sets as I'm listening to them, and then I would talk about me talking about myself while I was listening to them. So I'm making fun of myself, and we would laugh for hours doing that. So that might be a good idea. It's something I could do. I can definitely talk shit about myself.
It is a good idea, actually.
Yeah, and if you love comedy like I do, guys, just go do it. It's going to be terrifying. You don't have a drummer behind you to keep rhythm, or your mom back there making spaghetti, but it's very invigorating. It's not for everyone. Not everyone's going to like what you do, and not everyone's going to be a comic. But if you go up and you do 5 minutes at open mic, then you're part of the club. It's a very elite club, and if you're funny, dude, fucking go for it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, hell yeah! Everybody, check out the links. Check out Eye of Jupiter. I have also been a guest on that show. So if you're coming out of
circus music in the holler
territory, yeah,
circus music in the holler. That's what I called it.
You can even go find the episode that features me.
I'll get you one, JC. Do you have any crazy stories?
To be shameless.
I can make some up.
No, I don't want that, dude. I want people to be.
Well, I won't tell you they're made up.
If you say it that way, I'll figure it out, dude. That inflection was insane.
Well, I don't know what else. I have a story about my great grandma. I mean, if you want to hear that.
All right.
I can't tell it on here.
No, that's not what this is for. It's supposed to be funny. It isn't about the time she fell down the steps with a plate of cookies and shit on her wig, is it?
No, that was actually me, though.
That was you. You have a wig?
Yes, he was cross-dressing. It was a bit that failed.
Yeah, it was that wasn't even a bit. It was just what I was doing at that time. That was my life.
I think it's the perfect way to end the show.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, thank you for tuning in, everybody, to the expansion pack of Sasquatchers known as the Watchers.
Wait, do we got music? Wait, can we play Lamera as our exit song?
You can, but like I said, you might have to cut it later.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Too much